When you load into SketchUp, this is what you will see first. So you should see kind of a person standing here with the green world behind you and the blue sky. So let's go over some basics, okay? First thing that we should do, just to make sure, is we want to make sure all of our shortcut keys work. So I'm going to go up under Window, up at the top, and then hit Preferences. Under the Preferences tab, you should see a bunch of options, including one called Shortcuts. So when I hit Shortcuts, just go ahead and hit Reset All. When I do that, it makes sure that all of our hotkeys and stuff work. So, when I hit all my tools, you can see my tools are changing. So let's go over the tools real quick. And by the way, you might see a large tool set over here. If you want to turn on your large tool set, you can go under View, hit Toolbars, and then you'll see some options. There's this one right here that's underneath your Getting Started bar called Large Tool Set. So you can turn that on if you want. We won't get into it today, but if you want to have it available, there you go. All right, first tool I want you to try is if you hit R on your keyboard. So I hit R. Notice when I hit that button, it turned my cursor into that tool, which is the rectangle tool. So instead of having to click through all these tools over here, I want you to try to remember the actual key names. And most of them sound like what they would be. R, rectangle, L, line, E, eraser, stuff like that. So hit R. When we are going to draw a shape, we are going to use our mouse, and we're going to get in the habit of clicking one time to start the shape. Again, I'm not holding my mouse button down right now. I clicked it once to start. And then as I move my mouse around, again, hands off my mouse right now, I'm not actually holding it down. But when I'm clicking around and seeing the outline of my box, I click a second time, and that places it, okay? So let's try to make this box become 3D. So if I hit P, P is your push-pull tool. So then you'll see your mouse turns into that other little tool. Again, I'm going to click once on my shape. Again, hands off my mouse at this point. I'm not actually holding my mouse button down. That's an important concept to get the hang of. So as you can see now, as I push-pull it, and again, I click to drop it, you can see I can push-pull any of the faces I want. These are called faces, by the way. They're like sides of your shapes. So I can push-pull this box and do some cool stuff with it, okay? So with a box drawn, let's try to make sure we can look around that properly. Go ahead and hit H. H is your hand tool, okay? So H pans around the screen. Technically, yeah, the tool is called your pan tool. So if you click and drag, you are panning around. You can see, you basically are dragging the screen around, okay? That's what H does for hand. If you hit O, O is your orbit tool. So as the name suggests, you are orbiting around your shape. You can look underneath it, you can look from above it, you can look from different angles. A lot of times I like to keep it at kind of this nice corner angle where you can see what we're working with nicely. So that's what O does. You can also, if you're using a mouse, you can click down on that button in the middle, that scroll wheel, but if you click it down and move your mouse, you can pull it around and orbit that way, okay? Speaking of using a mouse, you can also hit Z for zoom. So zoom will let you kind of zoom in and out, but you can also use that scroll wheel, right? So zooming on your scroll wheel is a little bit nicer. All right, so with the box drawn, and now we have some basic, H, O, and Z tools to, look around, zoom, get ourselves to different angles. A lot of what SketchUp is all about is just getting a good angle or a good view on your thing. If you're wanting to mess with this rectangle, I'd probably want to be looking at it right here. It doesn't really help me if I'm, zoomed all the way out here, okay? All right, so let's try a little technique here. So I'm going to get my box a little bit higher. And if you're not already there, get your camera to something like this. So using your zoom and your hand tool, angle in so that we're looking kind of at the corner. Your box is pretty big on the screen. I'm going to hit L. L is my line tool. You'll see it turn into a little pencil. So you can draw lines all sorts of different directions, right? So what I want you to try is draw a little line from this edge to this edge, and you can see that I kind of made a little triangle shape here. Okay, so draw a line and connect it from here to there. Remembering that when you want to draw anything or push-pull anything or do any shape at all, really, you click to start. Don't hold your mouse button down, but then you can just click a second time to place. All right. So let's test something now. Go ahead and hit spacebar. Your spacebar selects the select tool. So it's this main tool that we have. If you use your select tool and click around, you can see you're selecting individual faces, right? So like you can hopefully notice that if you select this little triangle that you made, you've basically separated it out from the other part of the face. Okay, so I use that line tool to split it into two pieces. Okay, what's nice about that is now that I have a little piece right here, if I hit my P or my push-pull tool again, you can push that little sliver of a triangle that you made and push that back. I could even do some other stuff. I could even maybe draw a box into it or something. And, oops, you know, you can push that back. So there's a whole lot of things you can do. You could even try to draw another little triangle, and this is just practice. You don't have to actually do this, but you can see, you can like cut into stuff, okay? Let's practice another thing. So kind of reset your camera so that we're back to a view that we can kind of see the front of our shape, but I also want you to be able to see that back edge because I'm going to show you how to make a tunnel. If you hit C, C is your circle button. So, and you'll see that your cursor turns into a circle. So go ahead and, again, click once to start your circle. You can scroll it out to get a good size, and then click a second time to place it. So draw a circle in the front of your shape. Now, if I want to push-pull this thing, notice again, as I highlight over different faces, that's the shape that I'm like push-pulling, for example. So I want you to kind of hover over your circle. And then again, with my push-pull tool, I want you to click once to start that process, all right? So as you can see, as I just kind of move my mouse around, I'm pushing the circle out or I'm pushing it through. Let's say that though I don't want it to go all the way through the back like this, I want it to just end at the edge so it like cuts it out. And it's kind of hard, you know, to get it right on the edge, right? So here's a little trick. So as I push-pull this circle, if you just kind of hover over that back edge that you want it to cut to, you can kind of see how it says on edge. It gives you a little red dot and it will say on edge. So if I click there, oops, let me try that again. If I push-pull my circle and click on the back edge, you can see that I just pushed that all the way to the edge of the other side. If you don't get that like little edge side and you're a little bit off, you can see, well, I missed it. I didn't go to the edge. I just kind of overshot my goal, okay? Those are some of the main tools that we'll be starting with. Let's just take a look at a couple other ones real quick, though. If you hit A is your arc tool. And again, if you can't remember what the hotkeys are, just think alphabetically. A is arc, L is line, R is rectangle. Most of them correspond to the letter it starts with, okay? So A is arc. You can do some cool stuff with this, such as if I click once on my starting spot, I click a second time on my ending spot, then you can kind of bend the arc to whatever shape you want. So like for example, I can make a little corner cut right there. You can see I have that little separated. I can push that down. You can do some cool stuff with that. Another important concept is, well, let's see. What's another good one to begin with? Because I might have you stop and check the second video now for the movement options. I guess one last thing that we could do with this one is if we hit B. B is your paint bucket tool. And over here on the left, or on the right, sorry, you'll see that you have all these materials. So you can go in and change the different textures. So for example, if I want brick, or if I want a glass mirror or something, notice like the glass, you can see through it. It's kind of cool. There's landscaping options, so you can have like grass or something. There's also just plain old colors, so if you want to have different colors, you could paint it in whatever you want, okay? So this is the first little intro video. Practice, make some boxes, push them around, get the hang of just using the shapes and looking around. A lot of SketchUp is really just, you know, getting yourself to good angles, getting used to the camera motions, and getting used to the hotkeys. So practice some of those and check the next video for how to make specific size boxes and also how to move stuff around. That's going to be what you'll use for your first assignment. All right, good luck. Play around, see what you can work on.